It is something wrong with that. It is something wrong with that, ma'am. When you don't know how, look here, you've been dealing with this for over 20 years and you still got to act this way with your man, your husband, your boyfriend. When are you going to learn in the process of going through these lady things on how to find some type of self-control?
And Hank, I'll share. I'm not going to speak for Coco, but everyone
unrealistic expectations.
Wow.
We've had this period for 20 years, but we ain't had the same man for 20 years.
Wow.
Y'all bring your own little nuances, okay? Do you know the nuances?
We got unexpected expectations. We got unrealistic.
And everyone's different. Everybody's body is different.
Tell your truth, Coco. Tell your truth, man.
Also, your period can get worse or better the older that you get. So it's also not the same.
Mine's got worse.
Period. Mine did too. I have a fibroid. So mine is drastically worse than it was when I was younger. But I've always had terrible periods. Like, that's why I said, Brittany, you're blessed, baby. Because I used to be in high school curled up on the floor with a bag. You know, they would have to send me to the nursing's office. I would be down in pills because my cramps would be so bad. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, but I've never dealt, like, especially like in my long-term relationships with a man who didn't understand when I was going through that time. And I didn't mind telling him either, like, I'm on my period, but he didn't then take that time to turn around and say, but what about me? No, because he knows I'm in pain. Right after, I'm going to go lay on him. Do you need something? You done took care of me all week, or for this day or two, because it's not an all week thing that you cramping. It's like a day or two that it get real bad and it feels intolerable, because we tolerate it most of the time. You get a day or two.
The first couple of days,
you feel
first day or two, then you're like, all right, well, we got past the worst part. Now it's just
I'm good. Now I'm good. But I haven't had a guy that was just snapped on me because of it, or didn't want to help me through it, or like rub my back. Because like I said, I have terrible cramps, so I'm always curled up in the bed, or I literally would have to like go and sleep on the bathroom floor because I need a cold, hard surface to get through my cramps. And this is like through the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So for Hink, it just sounds very ignorant, and it's ignorant because you're a man and you've never experienced the period. So it's understandable why you would feel that way, that after this amount of time, we should be used to it. But it's an ever-changing thing. You get what I'm saying? It's not the same period throughout your entire life. It changes. It can get better, it can get worse. And every period, every cycle can be different. I got cycles where I'm good. And then it's another one, it hit me hard. It's like, okay, it just changes. You don't know what you're getting.
Aisha, what's your take? Because I know you said you want to say, I want to know your take too, Aisha.
Are we talking about periods or child support?
Both.
Okay, I did not have bad periods. I am not a moody person by nature. I'm emotional, but I'm not moody. I am very much so, like, what you see is what you get. So I've never had an issue with a man like being on my period. They don't really know. Like, even when I live with the guys, they don't really know unless I tell them. So I never really had like that issue. But I also can tell when I feel a certain way. Like I know, like, when I'm irritated, when I'm not having a good day, when I feel like I'm not at 100% emotionally. And most of those times I just withdraw. So I'll just like kind of retreat into myself and withdraw. I'm not combative by nature, so I don't get combative. As far as child support, I have a different view on it because I was put on child support. When that 20% came out of my check, I was fucking mad. I mean, can I say that? I mean, I was pissed, to say the least. But I have a whole different perspective on child support because all men ain't the same. Some men will go put you on child support.
That is horrible. Okay. And I'm sorry, and I don't want to sound biased, but to me, that is such a turnoff. Like, I remember a guy I met told me that he had put his ex-wife on child support, yet they both take care, like they both are physically active in that child's life. And he rubbed me as a guy who was literally just trying to get over. I guess it's the same thought process that we have about women who put men on child support, right? It's like if that man is a deadbeat, okay, that justifies it. If that man doesn't want to be in that child's life,
he was bitter. I don't know why he did it. It was weird. It was an experience to say.
Well, we also have to bear in mind, like, we look at child support through the lens of like getting things for the child, but we have to understand, like, sports programs are expensive. Signing them up, the registry, their equipment, their gear. Like, if they play football, like, there's a whole things that come with that, soccer, etc. Then also we sign up our kids for other advanced classes or education. Like, they're in music, they're in arts, they're in, you know what I'm saying, they're in science. Like, even now, like with the AI and STEM, and like that's even gotten more competitive. Like, a lot of more parents are more involved. Like, we got to stop thinking like these are the olden days and there's just a chalkboard and an old white lady that's just drawing on it. Like, programs today now are much more expensive and they're very time consuming, and there's a lot of things that come with them as well. So there's an added associated cost that wasn't thought about. Like, everybody had food, shelter, clothes, all covered. Great. The primary basic, but there are all these other extracurricular activities that also cost money that people don't factor in. And then when it comes up, it's like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to cost this much. And how much is it a month? And how much is it for all this gear? And then it starts racking up, and it's every year, year after year. And then you have to have the conversation. It's like, I love that our child is excelling in all this, but we have to also understand there's a huge exorbitant cost that is associated with this. And we need to talk about strategies of how to pay for this or find funds or other vehicles for us to ensure that our child still succeeds in the things that he likes, and we're providing that kind of experience. People are not having those types of conversations because it's like, you know, like all they have to do is just be happy and give them food. Those days are far gone.
No, I was gonna say, to piggyback off of that, that's exactly when I was gonna speak on my point. I was gonna say that some women don't even realize that sometimes child support will give you less than you actually need for the child. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the father is doing so much that, like he said, he's taking care of the extracurricular activities, he's paying for the clothes, he's paying for the school supplies, he's paying for, you know, like he said, because she said, what about the food? And the guy on the clip said, I'll pay for the food. That's something my kid need. But she's one of those people that will say that, but like, oh, there's other expenses. And he like, yes, call him. She was like, well, what about school? And he like, yeah, I pay for that. But then she started naming off expenses that had nothing to do with the child. Like, what about the car insurance? What about the car? What about the bills? And it's like, what about you being an adult? Like, I'm confused. What part, like, where did that come in? Like, I was completely confused